This is a Glass Box Media podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina, and it's the final one of 2021.
Wow.
It's the final countdown. Boo-boo-boo.
I think we do that every year.
I know.
I think we say that we do the final countdown song every year.
Man.
Well-
Why I'm tiptoeing into next year.
Yeah. Oh, I think everyone is. No one's like, this is my
Cautiously?
year. No one.
Do you remember how boldly we went into
2021?
So much hubris.
Absolutely. You should know better. I'm going to be 40. Like, there's no reason for me to have this much confidence about going into a new year. It's no. Very tentative.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's good. I hope it's good for all of y'all as well.
I did my manifesting yesterday.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Like you
Good,
said.
good. Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Strangely, speaking of manifesting, like I didn't mean to go into manifesting, but I was just like, it's like ideas. I have been like literally, I don't know if it's just the adrenaline from coming off of this minor procedure or what, but I'm like, ooh, I got ideas. Maybe I did do cocaine and I didn't know. I'm like, hear me out.
You should open a restaurant.
yeah, no, that energy, I think that energy comes with the end of the year anyway. Like we've talked about that many times, but yeah, there also it feels like there's something in the air that's like, I think maybe all of us have been kind of sidelined for so long now that we're like, God damn it, we're going to make something happen in 2022.
Plans.
We do have plans. Okay. We're just not going to go in hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got plans, but they're flexible. We're going in 2022 with a lot more flexibility.
Yes.
Yes.
Cautiously optimistic.
More flexibility, less disappointment.
That's right.
How that goes.
That's
you
right.
know?
Expect
Lowered
nothing.
expectations.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I really want to share. Listen. Okay. Stop. Listen.
Wait.
We started this podcast in 2018 with my separation from my ex-husband, who I can say is my ex-husband now.
Yeah, you can.
We are divorced. And here, we've talked many times on this podcast about prioritizing your friendships and how important they are to your life and how much richness they add to your life, and they bring you outside of yourself and just do amazing things. So I would like to share the story of my divorce party, my surprise divorce party.
Oh, man. It was a journey.
So first of all, we have to preface this by saying that Christina, we have been talking about this.
Yes.
Our group of 5 girls who are super tight and have like through the pandemic just been there for each other. We've just been, because we've had to bubble, we've just kind of created this like solid 5 of us who just are constantly talking to each other every single day. So it's been our plan that as soon as this fucking divorce comes through, girl, we're going to have a party. We have been talking about it for 2 years practically, right?
Yeah.
So when it came, you literally were here. We'd been drinking that night just lightly, nothing big. You went home and literally walked home to find your divorce papers, right?
Yeah.
You called me. I was in bed. It was like past midnight. I was like in bed, bonnet on. We got a phone call from Christina. And like, I always jump to the worst. Like, I'm like, if someone is calling me on the phone, like something
Like a phone call, not
bad.
a text.
terrible has
Yes.
happened, right? Like,
What do you need?
what happened?
What happened?
But it was just you calling to say that like I had to call you on the phone and let you know that like I am officially divorced.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it was so exciting. And we, like Cassie was saying, we have been planning. I had been saving like cake.
Pinterest ideas.
Yeah, I was going to be doing. And so we wanted to do this big thing for your divorce, but
then
of
literally
course,
timing.
it had to happen at the busiest time of year, because not only not only is this the holidays, which is a busy time of year for everybody, but for our friend group specifically, it's like everyone has a birthday.
Everyone
in
has
December,
a birthday.
January.
Everyone there's holiday parties, there's work
People
parties,
are going out of town,
everything. So
and so it was just disappointing too. Like even so, you had come over to record to Keegan's house and had picked me up like you do, and you're just like, man, I'm disappointed. You know, you're like, but we'll celebrate it in the new year, like around my birthday or whatever. But I know Christina, and Christina is the queen of the fresh start,
the clean slate.
She loves a fresh new year.
Oh, yeah.
Like, ooh, 2022, I'm coming to you with no baggage from the past. It's fresh, it's new. You love a clean slate.
Yep.
And so I was like, if we're going to do anything, it has to be this year because you want to leave this in 2021.
Yeah.
Period. It's
absolutely.
done. And so we were just kind of like, when or where? And it was just a last minute thing. And I'd gotten this cookie gift thing from my company, and I was like, ooh, we should have a cookie party. And I was like, oh, Christina's going to be furious. We can find time to have a cookie fucking party. You didn't even think about it.
I didn't even think about it. There's so many things that happen in this story that it just doesn't even cross my mind.
So you suggested that like real early in the morning, and I was like, yeah, okay, like let's tell her we have a cookie thing. And then like the second you sent the text, I was like, we should not have made it cookies, because I'm like, Christina is not going to come to this. I was like, we should have made it something else, because I was like, she's not going to come to like a baking
So
party.
I knew she wouldn't. So my first text after getting you guys in was to text Eric and be like, I've told her it's a cookie thing. She's going to fucking hate it. She's going to know it's all the girls. She's going to feel like she's expected to come, but at the last minute, she's going to be like, I just don't feel like it. And she's going to try to bow out because then she has to come back over the hill. I said, so whatever you do, Eric, your job is to get her ass back over the hill. That's
and we enticed you in every way that we could. We were like, Mackenzie's
but we didn't push too hard. We didn't push too hard,
Mackenzie's
though,
leaving
I know.
town, and this is the last time you're going to be able to like hang out with her before the new year.
Yeah, and we were so hungover that day because it was the day after your holiday party, and it was like we were on death's door.
I was sure we were dehydrated. Okay. I was for sure like, she's not going to come back over the hill. She did it once for us to record, and we were hungover.
Oh, you guys were so hungover.
Yeah.
And you even said you were here. We were recording the day that morning that you were supposed to come back over for the quote unquote cookie party, and you were like,
so funny.
You literally were like, I'm not. I don't think I'm coming. And I was like, oh, that'll be such a bummer. And I didn't say anything to Keegan because I didn't want her to push you either, because I was just like, okay.
And then I feel like I was just like, you know what? I just need to take a nap, and then I'll see how I feel. And I got home. I was like, oh, I just feel awful. And I like went to sleep, and then I woke up from my nap. Eric's like, Are you gonna go and hang out with the girls tonight? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, I have plans to like hang out with Paxton,
my husband.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Well, if you're driving.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's always how I am. I'm like, you can get me anywhere pretty much if I don't have to drive myself.
Exactly. Okay. So I was like, all right. So I'm like, get into your house.
And I was like, do you care if I drive?
Which I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Or whatever. She goes to me, she's like, my anxiety is like really high right now. It's like really high. I have to make this quick stop. I have to buy a gift certificate for this restaurant. Like, will you go in with me? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I guess.
Sure. You're like, sure, of course. Sure. You're like, it happens. Anxiety's weird like that. And I'm like, thank God.
This
because I do have anxiety. And
so
this is a
funny.
very believable excuse, to be fair.
Yeah. But however, because I was trying to stall you guys, because I left my house first, but then I had to stop by the grocery store. And then I couldn't find parking. I was like driving forever. So I'm like trying to text and be like, hey, you have to stall her. Like, because I have
and I don't even get this because she's at my house.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. Like, you have to stall her. And then you guys got valet. And I'm like, how did she explain?
Well, no. We got valet after driving around the block like 5 times, which was like.
So I'm driving there. I see where we're going, and I fucking see Mackenzie and Amy walking down the fucking street. I'm like, they're not even there yet. Shit. So I drive past, and I was like,
I don't see them at
Jesus.
all, because I am an oblivious person, and this is what I learned.
Drive around the fucking block, and I pull up to the corner, They're literally on the sidewalk on the left-hand side of me. I see the back of their heads. So I'm like, oh, we got to go. Like, let's go this way. And she's like, what? And I can see it on her face how frustrated she's
like an episode of Seinfeld.
And she's
real.
like, just, you can park here. It's just real quick. We're going to run in, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to go right around the corner again. She is like.
And I literally go, I'm like, Cassie, this is a lot. That's what I said. I was like, this is a lot.
You're like, I'm here for you, but also this behavior,
it
very
was
questionable.
Very extra. I was like, so finally we get.
Wait, we see Keegan. I see Keegan pass us on the street
with no lights on. I'm like, look at that idiot with no lights on.
And I'm like, oh shit, that's Keegan in my head.
Listen, okay, because I feel like I'm going to get questions about the no headlight situation. What happened there was
like, what had
happened was I was driving forever and I like kept finding parking spots, and so I found one and I was like, oh, we're good. I turned my car off, turned my headlights off, and then I like read the sign again, and it's LA, and anybody who has ever tried to park in LA or any big city knows that there's like layers, right? There's like 4 different signs, and it's like you can park between this time and this time, but only on these days, and like blah blah blah. Otherwise, it's permit or whatever. And so like I did the like parking math,
and
I was like,
definitely
actually,
like
I can't park here.
Calculus.
So then I'm like, fuck. So I'm texting them, and I'm like, I don't have cash for valet. Like, what do I do? And Mackenzie's like, well, just pull up. I'll give you cash for a valet. So I'm like, okay, but now I need to turn around. So I also did like an illegal U-turn with no
and
lights
meanwhile,
on.
when we did see you with no lights on, I didn't see you like driving. I just saw, I was like, the idiot doesn't even have their lights on. We're in the middle lane of Ventura. I think Cassie recognizes that it's you and decides to make a right turn. She's like, we're just going to go this way. And I'm like, oh my God. Finally, we pull into valet. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm sure they'll let us go in and buy this
because
gift
it's just like
certificate.
curbside pickup too. So
Yeah.
it's like curbside pickup or valet. So I get out of the car and whisper to the dude. I was like, go ahead and park the car or whatever. And I was
You,
like
slip
just
him
like
the money like it's a
just
drug deal.
real discreetly, like whatever. And then
I get out of the car.
She
big
opens up the door
energy.
with so much energy. She's like, you don't have to park the car. We're just running inside. I'm literally behind her.
That poor man
doing
is like,
the neck wave, like crossing my neck with my hand, like, no, go ahead and park. And he's looking at me with the biggest eyes, like shaking it, nodding
man.
slightly, yes.
I'm like, no, we're gonna be 2 minutes. We're gonna be right
like,
back. And you're like, I have to give him my keys. You said like it's the law.
I know, and you didn't question me.
I was
it's
like,
the law. I have to
did.
give him my keys. It's the law.
I was like, well, I was like,
For curbside pickup.
I was like, well, they can't just have my car out here just in case, like he has to move it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, get her in this fucking place
I can
without
only
ruining
imagine
this.
how sweaty your pits
Oh,
were.
I was so sweaty.
So then we get inside. There's a whole bunch of people in the like waiting lobby area or what have you. And people are like, "Are you in line?" And I'm like, I mean, I
I'm like,
know.
yes, we're in line.
You're like, if these people don't stop asking me dumbass questions right now.
And then Cassie's like, I've never been inside here. Do you want to like look around? So I'm like, we're gonna walk around a fucking random
Why would I
restaurant.
want to look around?
We're
So
giving up our
stupid.
place in line for this gift certificate just to explore this restaurant.
And by the way, it's just a standard
Wait,
restaurant.
I
Like,
want it
it's
to
not-
be known that she didn't truly question me out loud. This is just shit that's going inside of her brain because she's like, just like, okay.
And then, of course, we see a table and Amy and Mackenzie are sitting there. And my first thought is like, what are you guys doing here?
What a crazy
we're
random
supposed to
happenstance.
go
What the fuck are you doing here? We're headed to your house.
Exactly. And it was the most incredible. I've never had a surprise party before, ever. I was so touched. It didn't even get ruined for me when Mackenzie texted in the wrong
my
chat.
gosh. Okay, so all right. So we had 2 chats happening, which is a recipe for disaster.
Of course.
Truly. Because we had our chat that had us 5 girls, and then we had another chat that was just us 4 girls without Christina so that we could like plan. And we had been really on top of like making sure to keep those separate. But I had texted the group with a like tiara and sash, and I was like, BT dubs, I bought this for Christina. And then Cassie was like, oh, I already got that. And so then I returned mine. But after that, then if we were like getting stuff, we wanted to like share it with each other so that we didn't get the same thing again. So Mackenzie sends a picture of a wine glass that has like a little like divorce thing on it to our big chat.
Yeah.
And I immediately, and it was like, how about I get this for Christina to drink out of at dinner? And I immediately texted the other one and I was like, wrong chat, SOS. And so we just flooded the zone with shit. Like we were like, just,
I didn't look at my phone for 15 minutes and all of a sudden there were like 47
I was like, she won't look, she won't notice.
It's too
She's
deep.
not going to
It's too
scroll
deep.
up to the top.
But
did.
I did, and I hearted the photo.
You're like,
but I thought
damn
I
it.
busted her because I thought she had got me for Secret Santa, which is happening. So I was like, oh,
even
that's
though she
cute.
legitimately said on Sunday for her, like, I
Missed-
was like, oh,
missed
thank
that.
God. I had
I'm
a
the
feeling.
most oblivious.
She was so
person.
upset. She was so upset. She like cried. She was like, I ruined the surprise. I was
Nope.
like, it's fine.
I'm an oblivious person. Just
Loved it.
Floating through a random Chinese restaurant, following like, okay,
All
I guess
right,
this is what
whatever.
we're doing.
Oh,
It
man.
was so much fun.
The five
I
of
was
us drank 4 bottles of wine.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Over the course
feasted.
of several hours, listeners.
Feasted.
It's not like,
That was
And I gotta
good.
be honest, Chinese food felt like the right answer,
Yeah, it
right?
was wonderful.
Didn't it? It just was like
family
yes.
style Chinese
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
amazing.
It was
Perfect.
amazing. So I definitely, I think we need to normalize divorce parties.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think they're becoming more normalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
definitely
it was-
celebrating any milestone. You should have that moment with your friends. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
And I think that to me was the big picture. And we talked about it like a couple weeks ago when we were talking about not really having a bunch of girlfriends when we were younger, but how important it has become in our lives to have a really amazing group of girlfriends who you can just rely on and go to. And I think that night we had a lot of conversations, deep conversations about
Yep.
just, when you were going through it, what it was like, dealing with it, how all of us came together. I remember one time I was out of town and I was like texting the group, like, someone contact you immediately. Like, I am unable to be there. But every single one of us was like, just came together, and it's no less than you would have done for any of us in the exact same circumstances. But
And
that's
have
why
done.
it's important.
And have
have
done.
and
Yeah.
have exactly.
It's just so much fun and so moving and so, I mean, just blown away. And it is a funny, like, Eric and I still like talk and laugh about like the whole sequence of events,
Dude.
just what you guys had to go through.
You and
to
I-
keep it
Truly,
secret.
it was a comedy of errors
was
because
so
also
funny.
like that night I went to the grocery store and I'm like, I'm gonna buy Christina a bottle of champagne. And so I got the bottle of champagne and I bought like a little baggie to put it in, and then the baggie busted right away. Like I was like,
She's
literally,
like, does anybody have?
I was like, does anyone have tape? And so I'm like parking my car. I know I'm late. I know you're already there. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at Los Angeles. Like, and so I'm like walking down the street holding this like bag that's completely busted. Like it's a baby. Like I'm holding this bottle of champagne. And then I'm like, what, Keegan, you're so stupid. Why didn't you just hand her the bottle? Instead I came in with this like,
You're like, I have
mangled
to.
bag.
I bought it.
Yeah. And I was like, here it goes.
Oh my God.
Oh,
It was a
man.
comedy of errors. I mean, you and I, okay, first of all, the fact that we didn't truly acknowledge how wild it was until we're parking at my house
And we were laughing so hard.
crying about how ridiculous it was to get.
We got there though.
We got there.
We made it.
We made it happen. Oh my
And
gosh.
so did you, listeners. You've made it through another year.
Exactly.
right.
Oh my
No matter
gosh.
how wacky the hijinks, look, we're here now.
Throw a party and celebrate something really difficult that you overcame.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
You know, I shared a thing to my Instagram stories that was like, I really want us to get to a place in our culture where we start celebrating achievements other than marriage and like
Yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for women, so often like those are the big things
But
that
yeah,
you celebrate. When I'm just like,
promotions
Yeah.
or like, anything hard that you accomplished, I think
yeah, it deserves to be celebrated in exactly the same way.
grab your
You know.
girlfriends,
Yeah.
go get Chinese food.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Dude,
So
it was
awesome.
it was our very Sex in the City moment.
Oh,
It really
yeah,
is.
it really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that.
You're divorced, bitch.
Christina's
Divorced.
divorced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, well, who should we fuck, marry, kill? Our last FMK of 2021.
man.
I feel like we should do like a Spotify rap. You know what I mean?
Like someone who was on our Spotify rap?
Or no, I mean like
Jesus, okay.
I know.
I was like, don't make me
what?
reveal that on this podcast. I didn't even share it with people on my social media. I was like,
dang.
I was like, I for sure am not giving you my sad girl Spotify rap. That's just like a bummer. Like you don't need to know.
No, I mean, I wonder, like, people that we talked about a lot this year, you know?
Okay.
I mean, we've done Pete Davidson too many times to
Too
count.
many times. Yeah, for sure. What about, like, hottest crushes of 2021? Because I know that you've talked about Oscar Isaac so much this year.
Dude,
Taika.
that TikTok.
Taika was my 2021. Or 2021 hot boy.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac is mine.
Yeah, that TikTok that you shared where it was just like, it was just a sequence. It was a PowerPoint of hot pictures.
And she had different, she was like boyfriend, husband,
baby
ex-husband,
daddy,
baby daddy,
sugar daddy.
Yeah, sugar baby.
It was like, she nailed it. It was so good.
All equally hot. You know who I feel like it would be, if it's someone that we haven't done yet.
Oh, it has to be someone.
It doesn't have to be.
Oscar Isaacs, didn't we?
No.
Oh, we didn't. Shit.
If it's someone that we haven't done, then I have been just looking for an excuse to get Anderson Paak on this fuck Mary kill. So
He is hot. Okay.
what a smile on that man.
Joyous
tea.
and the
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh God, yeah, and he's playing the drums like,
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Shit.
Who's he dating now? I
Is
feel
he
like
dating
he's
someone?
dating
Why did I take that
somebody.
You
personally?
did. Shit.
Like,
you were like, I'm sorry.
Rude that
Did
I
I
didn't
say
get a
you
phone
date
call.
someone?
I thought we were exclusive, but
wow.
I mean,
okay,
I'm
cool.
married, but I thought we had
I
an
thought we had a
understanding.
thing. We've never met. I was certain.
You do not know I exist.
At all.
oh my gosh.
Taika's been my guy this year. I can't help it. We did him
That's all
earlier,
right.
but I'm just like, if I got to think of my 2021 guy, I'm
I'm
literally
okay
put
with
in a
it.
pinch. I don't know who else. I'm
Yeah.
stuck.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
I
down
can't
with
pick
that.
Tom Cruise again.
No, he's not just your 2021 crush.
No, that's
He
your
is your
lifetime
forever
situation. Yeah.
crush.
Okay. Oh,
This
it is tough because, like I said, you know,
This is tough. Shit.
not to brag, but I was within 6 inches of Taika, and
You're pretty sure you're married already.
yes.
Yes.
That man in real life, like the charisma radiating off of him
Those
is
curls.
like insane.
This might be the impossible FMK.
Oh, shit. You might
Yeah.
be right.
Yeah,
Honestly.
this is harder than the other one we did. It actually is.
Yeah.
I
God.
want to fuck and marry all of them.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Is that an option?
I do not believe it's an option.
Can we create a commune where this is a possibility?
Well, Taika
Well,
would be okay with it. I
I'm
think
in.
like he's shown an openness to
Yes.
that sort of thing. So
And I'm in.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like Anderson doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy I would want to share.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac is my.
Ooh.
And we're all like, I would share.
Oh my goodness.
Hi.
I know. I'm now you got me picturing
Listen.
Oscar Isaacs and Taika Waititi at the same time, and I'm saying,
Oh my God.
They could be
sweating.
brothers
So
too. They
fucking
got
hot.
like a vibe.
God bless America. Okay, wait. Time out.
yeah,
We're heading into a new year.
Mhm.
yeah.
Let's come in with good vibes and
Mhm,
fuck,
mhm.
marry, friend.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Still
Okay.
hard.
It's still hard, but I think
I know what I'm going to do.
Makes it
now.
a little
first.
easier.
You go
Okay.
first, please.
I know
please.
what I'm going to do now.
Okay.
That solved it for me.
Influence me, please.
Yes, thank you. Same.
Okay. I am going to fuck Taika Waititi because that is going to be several different positions.
Mhm.
I'm going to learn.
Mhm.
I'm going to have to literally write things down the next
Yeah.
day. Like, I
Yeah,
can't believe
yeah, yeah.
And
Dear
there's gonna
diary.
be a
I didn't
lot
even
of
know
things
that
I didn't
part
know.
felt like that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Mhm.
I didn't know that I could orgasm from my knee. Like, doesn't make sense.
From
But-
my knee.
Things happened, and I wild, sweaty, amazing night.
Mhm. Yeah.
With lots of a big cast of characters, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm going to marry Oscar Isaac.
Okay.
He seems like
Delightful.
whiskey on the rocks. He seems like, oh God, his smile. The way he looked at Jessica Chastain, I'm like, I wanted to marry him.
I would marry that look.
That look.
I just want to marry that look.
That
problem was he was already married. Someone
Ay,
who wasn't
ay,
Jessica
ay.
Chastain.
that look is so, when it is
Intoxicating.
directed at you, it feels like $1 million and
It's wrapped in sunshine.
wrapped in the smell of a baby's head.
Oh.
Like, it's just,
Well, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to marry Anderson Paak because
that's a party. That's a fun time.
it is a fun fucking time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so creatively rich in that house. It's gotta be like they just like the whole thing with like Silk Sonic and like Bruno Mars. I feel like it was just kind of born. It feels very much like it was born of just jamming, right? Like they were just like hanging out and playing music and enjoying like that whole process. And I just love his style so much. Like I feel like we could go thrifting together for clothes.
Totally.
It would be amazing. Like I just think it would be so much fun. I feel like
can wear a hat.
yeah.
Am I right?
That man can pull off like a page boy hat, which nobody can.
does. But
Nobody
he has got a gift for hats.
Yeah.
Not everybody does. Sometimes the hat wears the person. He wears the hat.
And similarly
Andre
to the way
3000, same
also,
thing. Though. Yeah, he
yes.
wears the hat.
Similarly to the way that Oscar Isaac can just give you a look that makes you like, I feel like it's not the same, but I feel like Anderson's smile does something similar. Like if that smile was directed at you, like if you said something to like earn that smile,
Megawatt.
it would be like, So I'm going to marry him. I think I can't. The reason why I couldn't marry Oscar Isaac is because he has an intensity about him that I find hot, extremely hot, but also intimidating.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot of intensity.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah. Yes. But I like it too. So I'm going to fuck him because when that intensity is directed at you, I imagine it is incredible.
I'm vibrating right now.
Truly. You're like, I am levitating.
Yeah.
Which might be what happens in bed. with Oscar.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna fuck him just because I feel like I mean, we all know how I feel about Taika Waititi. Also going to be fantastic, but I feel like Oscar Isaac, it's going to be after an evening of like deep conversation,
Right.
Which I'm a sucker for that.
Intimate.
So,
Young and deep.
yeah, and then I'm going to friend Taika Waititi. Now, I feel like Taika Waititi is the type who does fuck his friends, so it might be fine.
You might be fine. Might be fuck Mary.
Yeah, because he also seems very fun too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like I would
He
love
does
to
seem
go
fun.
on a vacation with Taika Waititi. Like, I
Right.
want to like. He is going
But
to
not like
keep
someplace
you,
too hot because I'm not bikini ready yet.
He's going to keep you laughing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know
yeah.
what I mean? Like he's going to be the class clown on the safari. Do you know what I mean? Like I love that. So
And yeah, he definitely does fuck all of his.
all of
girlfriend.
them. Yeah.
And
so
that's fine.
He's got real
it's
sex
totally
energy.
fine.
For
Yes,
sure.
yes. He's got real sexy energy.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you cannot go wrong.
Yeah. Oh man. Ay. You. This is
Very difficult.
very difficult.
Indeed.
I don't love sharing, which is really
So Taika.
struggling for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
But you know what?
You're like, for him, I might.
For him, growth is good. Growth is important.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just as long as
Everyone should try new things.
yeah. I don't know. I have yeah, I'm sorry. As much as I tried to go there, I'm like I have real deep.
Don't touch my.
No,
Don't touch
I
my
have
toys.
just deep like
Don't take
seated
my French fries.
No, that and like abandonment.
Abandonment.
I have
Yeah.
like real deep abandonment issues.
Mhm.
And feeling like something isn't fully yours makes me feel
Yeah.
at every moment I
Yeah.
could lose it.
Yeah.
Anxious attachment.
Yeah, that's I mean and I mean I'm not the person who's like
Clingy.
clingy.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I'm also not
Well, you know yourself.
I
You
know
what
myself.
makes-
It would be very hard for
and
me.
that kind of thing, that kind of lifestyle or view on love, it's not wrong.
No,
it's yours.
no, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, no,
and
no.
neither is Taika's.
No,
or what
it's
have
It's
you.
not for
Absolutely
it's
not.
not for
Yeah.
everybody. Like
Correct.
no one
Right.
thing is for everyone. You
Correct.
know,
Right.
and that's fine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I have nothing against
Yeah,
nothing against that at all.
absolutely.
I just know me, and I would be the wrong person for him.
Right.
I
Oh,
know that
yeah.
I personally would never be comfortable fully, and that has zero to do
And
with
you would
him.
want
It
to
has
be,
everything to
and
do with
then
me.
You wouldn't be, and then that's a whole other thing too.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's just
a
not good.
spiral that I
Mhm.
know I could go down, and it would not be great overall. So as much as it hurts me, I do think that we just are going to have to be friends.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
But again, I think he fucks his friends, and I'm okay with that. But it's, you're not mine.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. We just, we're playing cards one night.
Hey.
Things got late and stuff happened.
We
You accidentally-
polished off a couple bottles of red wine.
Yeah,
and-
You accidentally touched my boob, and I was like, that's fun.
Things happen, and we're still friends though.
Yeah, here we are.
Oh, totally. He would make
course.
you feel so chill about it too.
Oh.
Like he would never make you feel like
I
weird.
feel like
We don't never
he
talk
doesn't
about it
take
again.
sex.
no,
seriously.
seriously. I don't
No.
think so
Yeah.
either.
No.
no.
I wish I could be that person. I do. I wish I could be that person. Okay, so oh man, both of these are tough.
Hard. They're different vibes, but they're both great.
Yeah.
You
No,
can't go
I
wrong.
think I know what I'm going to do now. Now that I've come to that
I know
place
what I would do
for
for
me.
you.
Okay, I'm going to marry Anderson Paak.
That's what I would
Exactly.
do for you too.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
he's the right answer for me. He's a drummer, samesies. He's a musician. Love that energy. Love that energy around me. I love the creative energy. I feel like he would be into my drawings,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we would respect each other's.
He would
Art.
top your drawings up. He would
Yes.
show people your
Yeah.
shit when they came over.
Yeah,
He'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
Like, look at this thing that Cassie
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah.
That's his vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm also that person who's
Yeah.
like, oh my god, did you listen to this shit that Anderson just dropped? 'Cause,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
whoa,
Amazing.
It's gonna blow your fucking mind, dude. Like, we're both really good hype beasts
Yeah.
in that way. Like, we would definitely be hyping each other, and I just feel like that would be such a supportive,
He seems
com-
seems supportive about other
compatible.
artists and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem like hyper he seems very collaborative.
That's right.
Like he's very
Collaborative, for sure.
collaborative. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think Oscar Isaac is just like, it's too intense.
it's too intense, but it's gonna be such a good fuck. Oh my
Oh yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Oh.
That
He's
night.
gonna pick you up.
Oh
Yeah. And we know Christina's side.
shit! I almost fell off the chair.
Dude, I'm a lot of people. So I'm an extra person. I'm a person and a half, and I love that energy. Someone that's gonna just like whoop.
And he wouldn't even
I
think
got
about it.
lifted up,
And he wouldn't even think about it. Like
faint.
amazing.
Woo! Well,
Wow.
that
I'll take a
was
shower real quick. We'll be right back.
We're back cold shower.
Exactly. Take 5 and come back with stories.
And we're back. All right. I will kick us off with stories. This one's from Reddit. I went on a couple of dates with this guy who had a female roommate. No big deal. I had a male roommate. I made it clear that I don't sleep with people right away. I have body issues and it takes a while before I'm comfortable being naked. I told him it would likely be a few weeks before that step. He knew that before we even met in person. But the first time I invited him over, he would not let it go about how he wanted to sleep with me. Eventually, he was begging me to just let him eat me out.
Listen, no,
No,
sir.
stop.
Boundaries, and
Yeah.
that's so.
That's so assaulty to me.
It's
It
so
is.
weird.
It is.
Yeah, it
is.
is.
Because
It is.
there's a lot of times where it's just like I mean, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, where are times I know for myself, and I know for probably every single woman, where you've said yes just because it's just
to get it
seems
over
just
with.
to make them stop, and
Just
also
to get it over with.
and we didn't really want it.
No.
right. I
But-
mean, and that to me, like when you're giving, right, it should be about your partner. Like that's kind of like that's sort of the point, and you can enjoy it yourself or whatever.
Right.
But like when you are pushing that hard to do something like that, then it makes me feel like this isn't for me at all or
Right.
my pleasure, and or you are hoping that it will lead to something else.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I do not like. I was like, no, and you need to leave. But he was too drunk, so I told him I'd drive him home and put his bike in my back seat. While arguing about this, he randomly brought up his roommate and mentioned that she worked at a retail store. I was like, I work there too. Who is your roommate? He then tells me her name. I was like, wait, B, who works overnight shifts and who lives with her ex? I'm her supervisor. You really need to go.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. I knew that B lived with her abusive ex and was trying to find a way out.
Oh, honey.
What I didn't know and found out the next day was that he was targeting friends of hers and trying to coerce them to sleep with him. One friend in particular would not be coerced, so, trigger warning, he sexually assaulted her.
Oh my God.
Scary situation.
Yeah.
This situation.
Holy shit, dude.
I never met him.
What a psychopath.
Yeah. But when they were dating, he had dropped off food and things for her, and she thinks he recognized me on the dating site and targeted me.
Oh, no.
This is backed up by the fact that he was refusing to leave that night. I'll sleep on the couch. I'll sleep on the floor.
Fuck, no, you won't. Not in my house.
I'm 100% certain that if I had let him stay, that something bad would have happened.
Yeah. Oh, she's... Oh, man.
I also think he brought up B as a Hail Mary, hoping that either I disliked her and would want to get under her skin, or maybe that it would make me competitive with her. In reality, I loved her, thought she was an amazing employee and wicked fun person, and was helping her look for apartments so she could get out of the situation she was in.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Oof.
That's...
Awful.
It's
Dude.
just so scary. I mean, it does highlight like how scary these situations can be sometimes. You know?
Wow.
You online dating, you know, and we've talked about it. It's like, oh, okay, like men might get embarrassed or whatever, but like women get murdered.
Yeah.
They
What
get assaulted.
Yeah. What's your biggest fear? It's not that you'll say no. That's for sure.
Yeah. What kind of person like seeks out people who are close to your ex?
That's
like,
Not that's a sick person.
yeah, very, very,
very
scary.
sick
Mhm.
and angry person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh.
Well, my story is not going to make you feel better. My story is going to piss you off. Can't wait.
Cool.
All right. Years ago, I went out for drinks with a really cute redhead. I knew her from around town, and we were always kind of flirtatious with each other when our paths would cross. So we're having drinks and things and are really going well, very well. It is becoming obvious that she wants to come home with me, and I'm very much into that idea, and I suggest that we head out. At this point, she suggests that just before we do, we should quickly just swing by this other bar down the street just to say hi to her cousin. I, being a very agreeable mood, say, sure. So we get to the bar down the street and her cousin is there. We chat for a couple minutes. She seems like a really nice lady, but I'm looking for an opportunity to move on to the more sexier portion of the evening. It's at this point, though, that her cousin's date arrives. He's tall, well-dressed, black gentleman. I wish I could say what his personality was like, but I never got the chance to find out because it was at this point that all hell breaks loose.
Oh no.
My date, immediately upon meeting her cousin's date, flips the fuck out.
Yeah. I knew as soon as
Oh,
race was
gosh.
mentioned, I was like, this is taking a turn.
She immediately goes full Hitler,
Oh.
screaming at the top of her lungs in a crowded bar that she can't believe that her cousin's hanging out with a N-word.
That's
Oh.
so
I would die.
gross.
That she's going to get AIDS, that her family is going to disown her, the whole 9 yards. At
Oh,
this
my
point,
God.
I'm completely shocked. Looking back, I can't remember seeing any warning signs. Suddenly, I'm in the middle of the most insane situation that I've ever been in my entire fucking life. My date is screaming horrible, racist filth. Her cousin is crying.
That poor man.
And screaming back. Her date is fucking furious, and the entire bar is staring at us in disgust.
I feel like, listen, I don't feel great about anybody who's in this story.
No. But that
but,
guy?
But yeah, to be on the receiving end
Of that guy?
of like a racist tirade.
To that level?
is so fucking horrible and traumatic. Like
fucking
awful.
Not even just like the most.
I can't even believe. I mean, I can, but I mean, the racism and things that I've seen in my own life have been like microaggressions or like shady or like hidden.
Right. When people are out with it on that level.
With it,
this level?
That level is it's stunning. It's really stunning. It's so disheartening.
And it makes you wonder what's going on because like they clearly also have like a lot of people, there are a lot of racist people, obviously, but like a lot of people have enough awareness to know that they can't be that loud about it in public, right?
Honey.
Like there's
the level that you went to.
Yeah.
That's not even a fucking normal.
I hope her cousin disowned her and,
oh my God,
went and lived her life away from that toxic family member.
Awful. I had no idea what to do, so I basically just stood up, noped right the fuck out of there, never looked back, and didn't bother to find out how the situation played out. Just walked down the street, back to the bar I started out in, ordered a double of bourbon, sat in shocked silence, and then walked home.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
how do you...
Like, yeah, I mean, at that point, I mean...
I think that's so shocking. You don't expect...
For, I feel really
feel
bad
like you need to step in because, like... You need what needs to happen. Look, he was shocked. I don't begrudge like the way that he handled that situation necessarily. For sure. However, what I will say is that like when you talk about being an ally means actually standing up for the people who are being targeted in this situation. And so I would have liked to have seen him actually say something because like she needs to be checked. Like, checked not by the person who's being targeted.
For sure.
And not by her cousin because like she's not going to listen to her cousin.
That's right. Somebody else that she clearly...
Because a lot of these people think that everybody around them secretly thinks the same way. And they need to be reminded that like these other white people, they don't feel the same way as you. And they need to, say that.
Jesus, I just can't imagine... I'm sure hindsight, he's probably like, man, I would have, could have. It's just like when you get in a fight with somebody, you're like, I would have said this, and this.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Shower me is like fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's right.
I know all of the martial arts and would have.
I got every comeback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm so smart. And,
witty.
And right.
And right. Right and righteous. Yes.
Something that I've found that works really great when you're in an argument, especially with your significant other, is to cash app them $50 with the subject line "rude."
You've got to tell the people what happened.
Yes, there, honestly, that's so funny.
Okay, so after Keegan's Christmas party,
we went ham. We went to ham.
We went to ham, and apparently, sometimes if I have a few drinks, I'm like a scab picker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that thing you did 2 weeks ago that pissed me off. We're going to talk about it right now.
Right this second.
Right this second. So we somehow that must have gotten started in a very like the most uncomfortable Lyft ride ever. I'm sure that Lyft driver's like, oh my God. But
have you checked your rating since then?
Oh no.
But apparently I cash apped Eric $50. Or no, I Venmo'd him.
You Venmo'd him? You didn't request it?
No, I Venmo'd him. And
you gave him money.
I gave him money, $50. Rude is what I said.
It just says rude.
It just says rude. We have no idea what it's referencing. I don't owe him money or nothing. It's like, what?
You're like, can I go ahead?
That is a power move. You're like, you know what? I'm going to give you money.
And you're rude.
Rude. It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
All right.
Amazing.
So I got this story from a listener. The subject, gyno was great.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cheers.
Hi, ladies. First off, my brother and I love listening to your podcast.
Oh, yay.
Thanks.
Sibling love. Well,
thanks
that
for,
sounds...
Oh, okay.
No, sorry. I ruined it.
Wow.
Thanks for always making my long work commute so much better. I don't know if this is a podcast-worthy story, but regardless, I wanted to share. I like to call this my date with a gyno detour. And let's be real, I might actually be this guy's worst date.
Oh God. Oh God.
I love these.
I can't wait.
These are my favorite when people just like flame themselves.
It's the best. To set the stage, when I was 21, I had recently gotten out of an almost 5-year relationship and was home for the summer from college. Feeling kind of ready to start dating again, a friend of mine set me up on a date with one of her guy friends. We went out a couple times, great and nice guy, but I just wasn't feeling it. Not to mention I was leaving for Cincinnati, Ohio in the fall, and I'm from Michigan. Side note, I enjoy all your Midwest commentary on the podcast. No. I tried to explain to him that I just wanted to be friends, but he said he wanted to take me out on one last date before I left for school. It felt like a last-ditch effort, but I said, okay, but just as friends. The date comes around.
Never,
He wants to take me to the mall aquarium about 35 minutes from where I lived. I was pretty sure this was a children's aquarium, but oh well. He picks me up and we start driving there.
I do love an aquarium.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, me too.
Magical.
Is this like the Newport Aquarium?
Oh, it might be. Side note, around this time, I was trying to get on birth control for my acne, but my gyno in Michigan was booked until September, so I'd have to miss class and drive 4 hours back from school to get an appointment with her in the fall.
Oh my gosh.
And let's be real, the idea of finding a new gyno in Cincinnati was far too overwhelming.
Girl, honey, that's what Planned Parenthood is for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is exactly what.
Truly. Yeah, and they'll just, you don't even have to get an exam.
Yeah. Anyways, as we're about 25 minutes into the drive, I get a call. It's the OBGYN office. I answer it, and the receptionist says, hey, we just had a last minute cancel, and we can get you in today if you can get here in the next hour and a half.
Wait, aren't you 4 hours away? Oh, no,
Yeah.
she's in the town right
Right.
now. Okay.
Panic. I really want to get this appointment in, but I'm also a big people pleaser and don't want to let this guy down.
Oh, I feel you. I feel you.
Panic response. I need this vehicle to stop right now so my brain can function. We're on the expressway, and I say, hey, could you possibly pull the car over so I can think?
Can we talk about what that is? Because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
I don't want you to continue going that direction when I may need you to go that direction.
Correct.
That's
we just
what
need to stop.
I just got stopped
Well,
real
and
quick.
you just have to I need things to stop for me to think. Like that's what people say when they're like looking for a house number or whatever, and they turn the music off.
Yes,
or whatever.
yes.
It's just because
Yes.
I can't focus.
Can't do two things.
He pulled off, and I proceeded to just sit there thinking and sweating about
like,
what
Are
to
you
do.
okay?
And
Well,
then,
he's probably like, what the fuck is this phone call?
like any other reasonable adult, I decide to hop out of the car because my best plan is to call my mom.
On the side of the expressway.
I talk with my mom, and she says, I really need to take this appointment. Hop back in the car. So what are you doing later today?
Oh,
I explain there's a doctor's appointment I need to get to. Being the nice guy he is, he says, can I drive you there? Me being the awkward person I am, staring straight ahead, not making eye contact. I have an appointment with my gynecologist to get put on birth control, and I'd really like you to just take me home.
Oh, honey.
oh, baby.
Honey.
Awkward silence. Of course. Fast forward, gyno went great.
I also feel like you didn't need to give him all that information.
Yes.
Like you can just be like, hey, like I have an emergency, like I really need to attend to. Can you please take me home and we'll rain check? Like,
Yeah. Feeling bad for the change in plans, I offered to drive and pay for the date in the afternoon after my appointment. I picked him up. He awkwardly asked, so how is the gynecologist? Me? Good. Anyway, inserts literally any other topic I can think of.
Right.
Now,
is the gynecologist ever good either? Like it's like it was fine.
It was fine. It's a
It
thing.
is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly. It was $65 for the Children's Mall Aquarium. RIP my college budget.
Oh.
The aquarium also had these little tunnels to crawl in to see the fish, of which I spent most of the time trying to navigate in a manner that would not result in our faces getting too close or crawling butt to face with one another.
Had a real human centipede situation going through that tunnel.
Yes.
Once the crawling with fish finished, he then wanted to go shopping at the mall, where we ended up at the Bass Pro Shop.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh God, Jesus! The trauma of Bass Pro.
Man.
I'm
You're
from,
really traumatized by
well,
this.
I'm from Springfield. Like it's like where Bass Pro is like from. The big one.
big,
is in
big one. Yep.
Springfield.
Been
Like,
there, yeah.
Oh my God, the wonders of wildlife.
Oh my
Bass
gosh.
Pro. Like, oh Lord.
So it's important to note that I'm vegan and I consider myself pretty chill about it, but going to a department store dedicated to hunting deer, guns, and deer heads.
Yeah, literally, there's animals all over the wall at Bass Pro.
Not my most ideal date location. We never went out again and maybe texted once since that time. Really sweet guy, but just not my match. And let's be real, I think I was, in fact, his worst date. But on the plus side, that birth control worked wonders.
Hey.
Well, there you go.
Hey, there it is.
Happy ending.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for writing in. Incredible.
All right. You have your face. I'm nervous.
Well, yeah. Okay. Because here's the thing. This one, it's not a good time, fun time.
Great.
And
I mean, they rarely are.
Like, yes, typically our stories have to do with some pretty heavy subject matter. So it's not usually all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
But just really big trigger warning off the top of this. Like, I'm going to be talking about the murder of Brandon Teena. And this story is so deeply, truly upsetting that I cried while writing my notes. So that's where we're at with this. So if you know what this story is about, then you know that there are heavy sexual assault that happen in this story. Homophobia, transphobia, trigger warning on the top. So I got all of my information from an Atlantic article by Stephanie Farrington, a Britannica.com article by Danielle Antoinette Hidalgo, a biography.com article, and hrc.org. Okay. So Brandon Teena was born on December 12th, 1972 in Lincoln, Nebraska, Capricorn, right?
December 12th? No, that's Sag.
No, Sag. Okay. He had kind of a rougher childhood. His dad died suddenly and tragically in a car accident 8 months before he was born. He was raised in a mobile home park with his mother, who collected disability and worked part-time as a means of supporting the family. So both Brandon and his older sister Tammy were sexually abused by their uncle for several years, and this is something that he would later seek counseling for, that he dealt with later in his life. Brandon was born with female reproductive parts, but knew he was a boy from early childhood and began identifying as male during adolescence and began dating female classmates during this period. However, his mother rejected his identity and continuously misgendered him throughout the rest of his life, and in fact continued to do so after he died. Like, just
awful.
Yeah.
Brandon was an incredibly strong-willed child and teen, and even though he attended Catholic schools in both elementary and high school, he rejected Christianity after he publicly argued with a priest who taught at the school regarding his views on abstinence and homosexuality, and he rebelled against the school's strict dress code policy and violated it often in order to dress in a more masculine fashion. Because, I mean, we all know Catholic
school uniforms. I wore them my whole childhood, and they were either a skirt and a shirt or a jumper and a shirt. Yeah. So it's like there were no pants options
really
for girls when I went.
It's
probably different
that's what we
now.
think of. Yeah. I think we picture that like Catholic schoolgirl, like plaid skirt situation when we think of that. And so I'm imagining that's probably kind of the situation that he was dealing with at the time. And he just straight up was like, no.
I'll wear pants.
Not going to wear that.
Yeah.
So Brandon blossomed throughout high school. As he began to more fully embrace his true identity, he started binding his chest and presenting more fully as male, and he became outgoing and a person who was later remembered by classmates as a class clown type. Girls really liked Brandon, too, who at this stage was going by the name Billy, and he was described as the, quote, ideal man. He was the perfect balance of rugged cowboy and athletic jock with a Kennedy-like jaw. That's how he was described. So he had dreams of joining the Army after high school, but failed the written entrance exam because he listed his sex as male on the form. So they turned him down. Brandon, unfortunately, was unable to graduate high school as he was expelled just 3 days before graduation for truancy and misbehavior. But the period following high school seemed to be pretty stable and happy. but it was short-lived. He began his first major relationship and got a job as a gas station attendant in the hope that he could purchase his own mobile home for himself and his girlfriend. However, his mother sabotaged him at every turn. So
She sounds hideous.
she had his sister Tammy follow the couple around town we talked about this, spying on your kids last episode.
Honestly, it's so gross to me. And
Yeah.
it says something so broken about your character.
That's
that
right.
You're just
weirdly over-involved. Like, just
Who has that kind of time is the question, right? Like,
Well,
who
and-
has that kind of time to be
or
that interested?
or that kind of hate in their heart.
true.
Honestly,
just
That's
be
your-
happy
that's
that your
fucking
kid is happy. You know,
Right.
like for once, like his early childhood was difficult, and then he was like awkward or described as kind of awkward in like elementary and middle school, and he really started blossoming into himself when he started embracing himself. And like to not see that in your child and realize like this is a good thing,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, and like they're moving towards stability here, right? And to just see that and say, but not the way I want them to. So
Yeah.
so the mother had his sister Tammy follow Brandon and his girlfriend around in order to determine the nature of their relationship, Brandon and the girlfriend. And when it was discovered that the relationship between Brandon and his girlfriend was sexual in nature, she had Brandon undergo a psychiatric evaluation that concluded that he was suffering from a gender identity crisis and personality disorder. So, of course,
Okay.
he became depressed, and after a suicide attempt was admitted to the Lancaster County Crisis Center, where he received regular therapy sessions, often in the presence of his mom or sister, which I
Okay.
feel like is
Inappropriate.
unethical.
Yeah,
Like,
it's entirely unethical. Exactly.
you,
I mean, this is a grown adult, right?
right, 18, I think.
Yeah.
It's not family counseling.
That's right.
It's supposed to be. Yeah.
How did they think he could speak freely? So
Right.
it was during those sessions, though he resisted, they kept kind of like prodding him about his childhood and his childhood trauma until in front of his family, he was forced to relive the trauma of his child sexual abuse. Terrible.
That's fun.
Upon his release from the
Jesus.
institution, Brandon remained depressed, and desperate to hold on to his relationships with women, he began compulsively forging checks and stealing credit cards, mostly to buy gifts for his girlfriends. Eventually, in 1993, just before his 21st birthday, and faced with multiple warrants for theft and forgery, he left his hometown and moved to Humboldt, Nebraska, where no one knew him and he could begin his life anew as his authentic self. So here he started identifying solely as a man with
Yeah.
everyone he met. He introduced himself as Brandon Teena. So there he moved in with a young woman named Lisa Lambert and fell in with a group of her friends, including 19-year-old Lana Tisdale and two young men named John Lauder and Marvin Thomas Nissen. So Lana and Brandon hit it off right away and quickly started dating. And though there's no doubt that the crowd that he was running with was rough, both Lauder and Nissen had prior convictions, Brandon really felt like he'd found his place in the world. He had this beautiful girlfriend and this group of people who genuinely seemed to like him for who he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know him before. So, you know, to them, he was just Brandon, right?
Yeah.
But old habits die hard. And when Brandon soon found himself strapped for cash, he began forging checks again. And on December 19th, 1993, he was arrested and jailed again. So while in jail, he called Lana to bail him out. She got money from her dad and arrived at the jailhouse. And there she was surprised to find that Brandon was being kept with the female detainees. And this was the first time that anyone in Brandon's new circle had an inkling that maybe he was transgender. So multiple sources say that it was at this point that Brandon explained to Lana that he was intersex and that he was saving up money for gender confirming surgery. But she disputes this. She says that that didn't happen. Now, here's where I'd like to pause, because even as we just heard in that last story from a listener, we talk about the Midwest all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And generally, even though we'll make little jokes, like it's very flattering. We talk about like how kind everybody is and how like overly nice and early.
Yes.
Yeah, mostly
know?
that one.
Yeah.
Mostly early.
Like all of that stuff. Wonderful stuff about the Midwest in general. But I do think that there is another side to that. Like, especially if you're from the Bible Belt, from that entire region.
Small towns specifically.
Small towns especially.
Yeah.
That
I think that's small town anywhere.
Yeah.
I do.
Especially because you're not surrounding yourself with as much diversity. When you don't have to feel like you're being exposed to these people, you can think of them as others. And that's the biggest danger that we have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that compounded though with also like very homogenous religious
For sure.
stuff going on as well. Just like that, you know, I think can compound any situation. So I just want to say that off the top here, because what happens next is really gross.
Awful.
And the entire town, in my opinion, is to blame for basically everything that happens after this point. So this is a small Midwest town, Bible Belt. It's no surprise that Brandon's biology being revealed would spread like wildfire. And it was definitely used as a piece of salacious gossip, so much so that the local paper released the details of his arrest and dead named him to the public.
Wow.
Like, they wrote an article about it and put it in the fucking newspaper.
Jesus Christ.
I am so happy that I was able to get my brother out from where he was in a small town in the Midwest out here to West Hollywood so that he could really like
Live his
grow
life.
into himself and live his life. And who he is now and how he can just like live his truth and live like comfortably and happily, like the man that he's become because of that, versus like who he was at the time when he was in the Midwest. It's like night and day. And
Right.
it's so upsetting to me. How is Brandon being who he is affecting any of these motherfuckers at all?
Not at all.
You want to make yourself feel better by tearing someone else down for choices that maybe you don't agree with. It doesn't fucking affect you,
Right.
though. And it's so upsetting to me
Yeah.
when people have opinions about the way that you should live. I mean, we
It's
were talking
bizarre.
about
It's bizarre.
the Nancy Reagan thing,
Yeah.
too. It's like, fuck your opinions.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Live your life
Yeah.
the way you want to live it. Fine. But don't fucking make someone else's choices for them.
Well, and it's an interesting thing as well because, like, this is your friend. Like, you know this person. You know them. Like, you feel like you've been, like, deceived by them, but that's who they are. Like, that's the truth of who they are, and you like them.
Yeah.
Like, you like them.
Yeah.
Like-
if I suddenly found out that you were a guy, Keegan, or I mean, like born
Yes.
with male parts or whatever,
wouldn't
I wouldn't.
change-
It wouldn't
No.
change who you are. Like Jesus.
No. Like, it, and it's just, it's so deeply upsetting. Like, it's
Yeah.
upsetting. So Lauder and Nissen specifically took this news personally.
Once again, because it has everything to do with them.
And I think that this is a big part of it. And I think that this is why I consider this to be a tainted love story, because a big part of it was that John Lauder had previously dated Lana, who was now dating Brandon. And I think that there is that like toxic masculinity. What does this say about me and my sexuality?
Right.
Like inadequacy
Oh, totally.
that happens there.
Totally.
You know, and just on top of that, just straight up transphobia and homophobia, really.
Yeah.
Like, so massive trigger warning just from here to the rest of the story. Okay. So on Christmas Eve, during a party at Nissen's house, the men attacked Brandon. This is terrible. Okay. They forcibly removed his clothes to expose his genitalia to the guests at the party,
Oh my God.
including Lana, who they forced to look. Like, it was said that she didn't want to. Like, they were trying to convince her that he was not who he said he was.
Right.
And they forced her to look at this party. Horrible. Brandon left the party. But later that night, or in the early hours of the next morning, they tracked Brandon down. They forced him into their car. They drove to a remote area where they physically restrained him and raped him. Afterwards, they drove back to Neeson's home where they forced him to take a shower and told him that if he reported the rape, they would kill him. He escaped through a bathroom window and he fled to Lana's house. And when she saw what happened to him, she convinced him to file a report. And so they went to the hospital and an evidence kit was collected. Brandon was then interviewed by Sheriff Charles Locks. And you can find transcripts of this interview if you want to.
Don't recommend.
I don't recommend. It was truly one of the most disturbing and triggering things I've ever read. It, like, truly, the way that they victimized him during this interview.
Insult to injury.
It was, I mean,
Injury
it's been
to injury.
described as a second rape. And I'm like, it absolutely was. And it's a big reason why a lot of people don't come forward because they don't want things like this to happen to them.
Yeah.
Because it was truly so just, it's awful the way that the things that he said to him. Needless to say, he blamed Brandon for his own assault and degraded him and his identity throughout the interview. Locks did question Neeson and Lauder, but refused to arrest them or press charges because, and these are his words, I would never misgender somebody. But this is what he said, and I think it's important so that you can get a true understanding of the kind of people we're dealing with here. He said, what kind of person was she? The first few times we arrested her, she was putting herself off as a guy. So it doesn't matter what happens
Wow.
to that person. They don't matter. They're a non-person.
Wow.
Yeah. So Neeson and Lauder were angry that Brandon reported them to the police and spent days searching for him with no luck. Finally, in the early morning hours of December 31st, 1993, they drove to the house of Lisa Lambert and broke in. They found Lambert in bed and demanded to know where Brandon was. When she refused to tell them, they searched the house until they found him underneath the bed. They dragged him out and asked Lisa if there was anyone else in the house. She told them that her friend Philip Devine, who was dating Lisa's sister, was there, staying with her at the time. So they dragged all three of them out and shot and killed them in front of Lisa's 8-month-old son. Wow. Horrible. To ensure that Brandon was dead, Neeson then stabbed him in the chest before the two left the scene. They were quickly arrested and charged with murder because everybody knew who did it. Like,
Right.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. So many people in this story are responsible
Complicit.
for this because
Absolutely.
what did you think was going to happen? You didn't give Brandon any protection and 3 people lost their lives
Yeah.
because you didn't do your job, So Neeson accused Lauder of committing the murders, but later admitted to being an accessory to the rape and murder in exchange for a lighter sentence. He testified against Lauder and was sentenced to life in prison. Lauder was found guilty of murder and sentenced to death, but later on in 2007, Neeson would recant his claims that Lauder committed the murders and admitted that he had been the shooter. Despite this, both the Nebraska Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court have declined to overturn Lauder's conviction, and he remains on death row. Brandon was buried in Lincoln Memorial Cemetery in Lincoln, Nebraska. In one last stab of indignity, his gravestone bears his dead name, along with the epitaph, daughter, sister, and friend.
Wow.
It feels like a
That's-
very pointed knife.
Yeah. Brandon's mother, Joanne Brandon, sued Richardson County and Sheriff Locks for failing to prevent Brandon's death. She won the case and was awarded $80,000.
Wow.
In
Like she cares.
In 1999, that's another thing. I didn't even write notes about that, but so the movie Boys Don't Cry is based on this case. And when Hilary Swank won an Academy Award, she thanked Brandon Teena in her award speech, and his mother came forward and said that shook her to her core, and she was disgusted by her calling Brandon Teena Brandon, and saying he, thanking him in her award speech.
Bitch.
It's
Oh.
I'm
so
gonna call my mom after this.
I know,
and say
right?
thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just my heart hurts so much for the short and very difficult life that this person.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. So in 1999, the movie Boys Don't Cry premiered, telling the story of Brandon Teena. The film was met with critical acclaim and began a new conversation around violence against transgender people and self and gender identity as a whole. In 2019, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Even though this isn't the standard Tainted Love story, I do think that it counts because I think that the anger that was directed at Brandon once his anatomy was revealed had a lot to do with his
Relationship.
relationship and his perception as this man who was very well liked by women.
Yeah.
And that kind of toxic masculinity that goes along with competition with other men and feeling like that was okay when you saw this person as a man, but it wasn't okay when you didn't.
Well, and also, I mean, to be fair, like we share bad dates all the time. That's the point of this show. But you know, it's not often that we point out that how much violence is visited on the transgender community and how dangerous it is for them to date, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, to go along with that, the Human Rights Campaign announced last month that it plans to release an annual report on violence against transgender and gender nonconforming people. In November of 2021, they released the following statement. For the second year in a row, the trans community has seen a grim milestone. 2021 has become the deadliest year on record, just as 2020 was. Each and every name read and recognized on the Trans Day of Remembrance represented a full, rich life that did not deserve to be cut short. The rhetoric and stigma aimed by anti-equality political leaders and public figures at transgender and non-binary people have led to an unprecedented level of horrific violence against our transgender community. We must fight for change. We must dismantle this stigma. We must bring an end to the epidemic of violence. And that's Joni Madison, interim president at the Human Rights Campaign.
Wow.
So it's just, I know it's heavy.
Yeah.
And like, it's a lot. But I don't know. I just feel like these stories, they do deserve to be told. And
Absolutely.
we don't.
Yeah. Do them enough.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
I mean, I've done one as well.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's such a often occurrence.
It's so specific and so pointed.
I think that something I would like to bring up just on that note is because this is something that's been on all of our minds a lot lately. Planned Parenthood is not just a resource for women. Planned Parenthood gives many free resources to people who are going through transitioning process, hormone replacement therapies for hormone treatments for trans people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just for women. It's not just for men. It's for humans.
Right.
And I think that it's something that I think personally, I would love to start off the new year giving a donation to Planned Parenthood in response to all humans who deserve great treatment across the board.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. It's just such a good reminder to treat each other with kindness. Like we're all just humans beings trying to figure it out. And it's so
the
hard.
The anger the last 4 or 5 years has been like, it's ratcheted up and like, it's life's hard enough,
right?
You know? And like, I will never, ever understand why you feel the need to make somebody else's life harder, or like this idea that there's not enough to go around, or that it somehow takes away from you is not true at all.
And it's such a like serpent eating its own tail too, because it's just like that hate that you felt, you know, you hated this person so much that you needed to do these things to this person. And in doing so, you've destroyed your own life.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like it's just
the mother. Oh, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe the gravestone thing. I knew the story, but
that's gross.
I didn't know he has to suffer that final indignity.
Yeah.
Like, right. I mean, and a lot of articles still use his dead name as well, which, you know,
really in this day and age, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, people are who they say they are and believe them because they know themselves better than you know them.
And who cares? Honestly, who cares? It just doesn't make sense. It's what you said earlier. Like, why? Why do we care so fucking much? Why do we care so fucking much?
I don't know, because we think it says something about us because people are so self-centered. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have the energy to hate anybody this much. Like, I really don't.
Oh, no.
You know? God. So, anyway, I'm sorry that it was like such a heavy one.
Don't apologize for doing something that I think is incredibly important. And I definitely will make note in the show notes. I do believe that there's actually like a specific number now for the transgender community.
There is a we can put it in the show notes for sure, but there is a hotline specifically for trans folks who need assistance, and also if you have experienced sexual violence or are experiencing sexual violence, if you need somebody to talk to, rain.org. If you go there, RAINN.org, there is an entire list of resources, ways to contact people. If you just need someone to talk to, there's a phone number, because I know that this is something that a lot of people unfortunately experience or have experienced. Yep. So,
oh man. Well, to get us to the other side, because it's incredibly sad, and now I'm furious, and I want to drive to Nebraska and destroy a headstone.
Oh my God, totally. I'm like literally here like, how do we get a new headstone for this?
I know. I'm so angry.
Like, can we start a GoFundMe?
Yeah. What are we watching this week?
Well, I got a Paramount Plus trial. So
I almost did that too.
It's like, you know, I don't actually think I'm going to keep it. Like, there's not enough stuff on there that I'm like makes it worth it for me. But I, for some reason, was like, I really want to watch the new Paranormal Activity movie.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So
it looks so scary.
You know,
the first one scared the bejesus out of me.
Really?
Honestly,
I don't like scary movies, so we know how I feel.
Terrifying.
This one was unusual. Like, if you are a Paranormal Activity fan, like it was different than the other ones. Like, it was still like found footage, or it was like documentary kind of found footage style. But like the first half I thought was pretty good, but not scary.
Yeah.
And then the second half I was like, wait, what happened? Because it was like scary, but I'm like, how did we get here? Like, I was like, I'm confused. So I don't know that I would recommend it, but if you're just looking for something spooky and you like, you know, you have Paramount Plus and like an hour and a half free.
Yeah.
Go
you're
for
like,
it.
I guess.
You know?
It's a real winning endorsement you're giving right here.
Is basically.
It's meh. You're going to feel meh about it. It's great. Well, I have just been on my same old Castle reruns. Just again, nice cozy blanket of things I already watched before, but that's fine. However, I did watch the trailer for The Lost City.
Oh, I haven't watched the trailer yet, but I've heard great. I've heard it's going to be cute.
As soon as we are done here, we are watching the trailer.
Okay.
It is so, I cannot fucking wait.
Sandra Bullock's in that, right?
Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum. Brad Pitt, like it's
makes a cameo.
So it looks so fucking hilarious. It looks really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was triggered by watching the latest edition of Tiger King, the Doc Antle story.
No.
The culty one.
Do you know?
Can I tell you how much it reminded me
of?
Oh, no. It is exactly the same, Cassie. Exactly.
Oh, no.
And Eric at one point turned to me. He's like, is this triggering you? Because he was saying the exact same things that
You've heard
used to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your skin is just crawling off your body.
Like jaw
Floor.
down. Yeah. It was too much. So if you have been in an emotionally abusive place or a cult adjacent place, I would not recommend watching that because it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's intense.
Wow.
And then I got even more angry because right after that I watched the Janet Jackson.
Oh Jesus!
Documentary,
God, why
and
do
I
you
was
do this
like,
to yourself, Christina?
I was furious.
Like you really do. Like I try to avoid watching. I watch a lot of like horror and thrillers and stuff, but like I avoid watching even if I know
that's your real
be good.
mind escape, though. That's your escape.
Truly, yeah. I try to avoid things that I know are going to make me
dive
mad.
into documentaries and stuff like that. I love it. I watch if it's a documentary, I've seen it. It's my jam.
There's a new one I just saw that I'm like interested to see if you watch it. It's on Hulu. It's Scared to Death. It's a guy, the kid who like is asleep, like says he's sleepwalked, killed his friend.
And killed his friend.
Yeah.
I'd
watch that one.
I'd added it to my list, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
but it's on
I'd
my
watch
list.
that one. Yeah, no, there are important documentaries that I'm like,
sure.
I need to watch this for like a
Posterity.
cultural, relevancy, and I'm like, can't do it because I know I'm just gonna walk away from this being like so fucking mad.
Yeah.
See, I tend to stick to archaeology type documentaries or art history documentaries, which are great. They rarely piss you off. So that's where
You feel smarter. You feel smarter having watched it.
I'm like, let's talk about Egypt, can we?
Yeah.
'Cause I would love to talk about the pyramids.
The Sphinx.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have something we should watch, or you have stories that you want us to share, or you just want to just reach out and say hello and Happy New Year, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstatepodcast.com. And we love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media podcast.